Hi, I'm Josh.
And I'm Derek. We're both experienced founders and CEOs of B2B SaaS companies, and now we're your hosts.
In today's world, getting accurate information about B2B SaaS products is tough. User review sites are manipulated, and research reports are often wildly inaccurate or paid for. That's why we're here, to bring you information that no one else does.
We go straight to the software companies themselves to break down their products, show you a demo, and give you our honest opinions. Whether you're a software buyer, investor, or user, this podcast is for you.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Talk SaaSy to Me. Today we have Michael, founder and CEO of StoreConnect. Let's jump right in, Michael. Thanks for joining us, and go ahead and tell us, why does StoreConnect exist, and why are you the right person to solve that problem?
Geez, thanks. Well, first off, I got to say, before I even dive into that, Josh and Derek, I love the name of your podcast. I mean, I don't know which marketing genius came up with that, but well done. So StoreConnect is a e-commerce platform and a point of sale system built, and a content management system built completely on top of SalesForce. So why would we build this? Look, at the end of the day, about 7 or 8 years ago, I was building bespoke e-commerce products for clients. And we were building them through my software development company that we had, and I still have. And they were bespoke and quite often connected to SalesForce through some way. You know, they wanted to synchronize the contacts or the accounts or something so that they have a single view of their customers. And these companies were coming to me and saying, hey, can you build me a bespoke e-commerce product? And I was like, well, yeah, sure. I mean, I'll take your $300,000 or your $400,000, but why aren't you using Shopify? You know, it was really blowing my mind that companies would want to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars in building something from scratch, but not buy some very capable e-commerce products out there. And, you know, Shopify is fantastic for what it does. It's a fantastic product. So I kept digging a bit. Obviously, I did the projects. That's what they wanted. But we kept digging a bit. And what I found was that the reason the clients wanted to build their own platform was they wanted to get more in touch with their customers. They wanted to understand their customer behavior, and they wanted to stretch their e-commerce product in a certain direction and customize it a bit that allowed them to service their customers more. Right? A lot of the off-the-shelf e-commerce products out there are, you get 90% of what you need, and both of you would know you hit a wall. You know, you want to add that last 3% or that last 10%. You either can't, or you have to do it in such a Frankenstein way that at the back end you've got staff madly running around trying to keep these things hooked up and put together. So that led me to sort of a bit of an epiphany, and I went, well, hang on, we're building all these apps that connect to Salesforce. What if I just build Shopify and WordPress and take the best features of both of those things, plus add a point of sale system and build that inside of Salesforce using their app development framework? That would give these clients all the features they need for the front end, because no one was complaining about the front end. The front end's a solved problem. You know, you click a button, it goes to the cart, you do a checkout. It's pretty common. There's no real innovation in that space pretty much anymore. But they're all wanting to access the back-end data. And Salesforce is just a fantastic way. I mean, they're the world's number one CRM for a reason, right? The ability that you have to access data, modify data, inspect data, trigger actions off of data, do things with that data is second to none. So that was the genesis of StoreConnect. I actually thought it was $1 billion idea, and then I turned around and found that Salesforce bought Demandware for $1 billion. And I went, well, I was right, just 3 months too late. But then I went and looked at how much it cost to implement Demandware, and which is now Commerce Cloud. If you want to put Commerce Cloud in play, you're going to be L'Oreal or Adidas or a very big company. So I went, good, I'm just going to do that for small to medium business. And that was 7 years ago, and here we are. So it was actually quite a bit harder than I thought it would be. So there you go.
Well, being hard's a good thing, right? That's how you get that moat. So maybe just to summarize and some follow-up questions here. So you've built a commerce platform, e-commerce platform, and I'm minimizing it by just calling it an e-commerce platform, but on Salesforce. And the need and the want by companies, as we've seen with many other solutions out there, is within the platform, the key platform itself. And there's a lot of value and reasons why to do that. So before we get into some of the features and functionality, maybe just help validate yourself for the market. How many total years you've been around, or if you're comfortable sharing number of customers or revenue size, just something to help validate for our audience, that you guys are here to stay and the real deal.
Yeah, totally. I mean, to give you a concept of how in demand the product was, when I first came up with the idea in 2017, I think it was like September, we spent 3 months just prototyping to make sure that this wild, crazy idea was even possible, right? Because there's a lot of limitations when you're connecting an app to Salesforce that you have to think with, limits and resource limits and all this sort of stuff. So we found a way to handle that, and that's actually resulted in us lodging a US patent for what we've done on making that connection work, and that's now with the patent office and getting approved. And then 3 months after starting, without a product in play, we just had the idea of the product and a basic prototype. I went to market and we sold 3 StoreConnect deals. And at that point, we were doing implementations, and they were worth around $500,000. And that was in 3 months without a product. And at that point, I went, okay, this thing's got legs. So then we really started developing it. Fast forward a couple of years, 6 months after that, we couldn't do any deals because we were just full of trying to deliver this thing. And then 6 months later, we went to market again, sold out our capacity again in a couple of months, went back to building it. A year later, went back again. And what we realized was that the speed to implement was actually our biggest bottleneck. We couldn't hire staff fast enough to develop and implement StoreConnect. So what we did then is we went to market and we started signing up Salesforce partners. And if your audience don't know, when you buy Salesforce, it's quite often recommended that you get a consulting firm in to do the heavy lifting and get Salesforce up to speed. And since then, between 2019, our first partner signed up mid-2021, and we're now at 96 partners worldwide who have signed up to implement StoreConnect. And that's an incredible validation of market. In fact, we spoke to some of the head Salesforce people, and they've never heard of a SaaS company getting 96 partners in 2.5 years signed up onto selling StoreConnect. And those partners are in America, Europe, India, Egypt, Dublin, London, Australia, New Zealand, like they're just everywhere. So when you're installing StoreConnect now, you get to choose from 96 implementation partners, the vast majority of which are certified. They've done our training. They have staff that know how to use the product. And then Salesforce came along shortly after that and gave us the Partner Innovation Award of the Year. That was in 2021, which was a big deal because at that point we were only doing, not very much revenue at all. And Salesforce recognized us next to IBM and Deloitte and these sorts of companies. So there's a lot of push from Salesforce for us to succeed. And the biggest reason for that is over 50% of our clients start when they buy StoreConnect, they also are buying Salesforce at the same time. So in many cases, our clients are telling Salesforce the reason we're here is because of StoreConnect, not the other way around. So that's been a really good validation for us. And it's very much started to expand that ecosystem and market.
And maybe we can, and that's super helpful, maybe we can dovetail on the last thing you said. When a customer thinks about StoreConnect, you mentioned a lot of them are buying Salesforce essentially for the first time for their business, maybe not the first time in their career, but the first time for their business, and they're getting StoreConnect right then and there. Help us understand kind of what's the percentage breakdown, would you say, of your customers who are net new to Salesforce versus, hey, we've been on Salesforce and now we need to add an e-commerce platform?
Yeah, so 50% is the actual average. I think it's currently running at 48.7 or something, but it always hovers around that 50% mark. And it's actually a really interesting journey for them because, look, StoreConnect isn't for everyone, right? If you're watching this show and you're going, should I buy StoreConnect? And the product that you need to sell is, I don't know, a single plushie toy or something, right? And you're not on Salesforce right now. And all you need to do is launch an e-commerce store quickly and just sell some stuff. That's not what StoreConnect's there for. What StoreConnect is there for is for companies that want to graduate to become a scale up. Maybe they've been a startup, or maybe they've been in business for a while and they want to scale up this part of their operation, which is their online and in-person e-commerce. That's really the target client that loves StoreConnect. I mean, we had a company, Beyond Plumbing. They're fantastic. We've got an article on our website, and the title is 3 Dads with a Dream Start a Plumbing Business. And it's literally what happened. 3 plumbers got together. They knew nothing about Salesforce. They knew nothing about technology. I mean, they're plumbers. And they say this themselves, right? So I'm not trying to stereotype plumbers. I'm sure there's some incredibly tech-savvy plumbers out there. But they were like, we know nothing. And they founded their business. And 2 weeks later, the first 3 IT purchases they made was Salesforce, StoreConnect, and Google, right, to kick their business off. And they've just grown every month since then. That they told us that StoreConnect has given them 300% growth and doubled their team size in 12 months. Which is just ridiculous. So, it's the type of customers that we're after. It's not so much are they on Salesforce or not. It's do they have a customer problem? Do they have a situation around where they want to increase the customer service that they're delivering, increase the connection that they have with that customer, and really just create this idea of customer commerce, which I'm writing the book on.
That's great. That's great, Michael. And I'd be interested to dig in a little bit for people who want to understand how StoreConnect compares to usage of another platform. Like, why not buy Shopify? Why not buy one of the e-commerce platforms with 100,000 or 1 million customers out there on it? Where does StoreConnect fit in? Is that for people? How does that work? Tell us about it.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. We sat down and we did a Shopify StoreConnect comparison. And it was a really interesting exercise. Look, Shopify is a fantastic platform. They wouldn't be where they are now if they weren't. And the biggest difference that our customers have told us about StoreConnect compared to Shopify is StoreConnect allows them to go deep into an area for customization and complexity, whereas with Shopify, they start hitting some boundaries or barriers. And the biggest case where this comes up is if you go and read a Shopify website, or a consultant, if you're reading the ecosystem, that's what I'm trying to say, quite often what you'll see is the best 23 plugins to install for Shopify, or these are the top 15 plugins that you need for every business needs on Shopify. So what that means then for people watching is you've got Shopify, which you're paying your license fee for, and then 15 to 25 plugins. And that's not a number that I'm just pulling out of my rear end. That's like the industry average. It's something like 20 plugins per Shopify store that's actually active. So you've got 20 additional SaaS subscriptions that you're having to buy on top of that Shopify license. So that's one Shopify license plus 20 more monthly bills, right, to each individual thing, 20 possible points of failure because each of those SaaS products does its own thing. And quite often what's happening is you go, well, I need recurring billing. Okay, well, you've got these 3 choices. All of them do 90% of what you want, but it's a different 90%. So you're having to always make these compromises about which additional plugin do I want to have and which features don't I really care about. What our customers have come to love about StoreConnect is because we're built on top of SalesForce, the power of SalesForce, if you wanted to give it a unique position, is that it's programmable and the database within it is modifiable. So I was talking to a garden center yesterday that was looking at buying StoreConnect. And I said to them, hey, would you love to be able to have a field on your product, which is how old the tree is that you're trying to sell? Like age of tree. Now, you're not going to find any e-commerce product in the world off the shelf that has age of tree as the field on that, checkout. I mean, you might find some really niche horticultural-based one, but then it's going to be super niche and there won't be any people on it. With StoreConnect, you can just add that field because it's based on Salesforce, and then that field can be shown on the front end. So then that could be categorized by age of tree, and now you're done. Or you might want to put an extra field on a customer, which is total number of times they've bought this certain type of product, right? And then when they get to 5 times on that, you want to trigger a whole email campaign that's going to thank them for being a VIP member. You want to automatically generate a gift card to send them. You want to automatically add them to a membership, which gives them 10% off every future sale. You want to notify the packaging company to post them your gift box that you've already organized. See, all of that with StoreConnect and Salesforce can be automated. To automate that on something like Shopify would mean now we're going to go buy Zapier to connect it up to some other platform, and we need this plugin and that plugin, and we need Joyce out the back to be monitoring the email to make sure that that thing all happened and that all those systems are still working. And because it only happens once every 4 or 5 months, we're never really sure if it's going to work next time because someone might have upgraded one of these SaaS products somewhere and now nothing's working because it's all broken. That's really the difference. So Shopify is great to get you up and running as a small business, get that idea going at a very, very low cost if you're not sure on what you need to do. But if you really want to start servicing those customers and looking after that customer and focusing your business on what the customer needs, that's where StoreConnect comes in. Makes sense.
Yeah, and you're really leveraging that flexibility of what Salesforce has created in their business platform to be able to then expand in the e-commerce side. So that's quite clear. Yeah.
That's actually a really interesting point because yesterday I was on another call with one of our clients and I said, what is it about StoreConnect that's different for you? And they said, well, StoreConnect handles all of this, right? But all of that data is in Salesforce. So when we plug in our ERP, which is also in Salesforce, we don't have to create an API for those two things to talk. There's nothing special that's needed. The data's already there. So the ERP can look at that same data. There's no permission problems. There's no authorization. There's no connection issues. All of that data's in one spot. So they can keep adding aspects of their business using that platform it's like an operating system for the business. And they start plugging in these additional major parts of their company and it's all looking at the same data. And that's where our clients start seeing the real benefits.
Sure. And those integration platforms can be expensive if you're leveraging another e-commerce tool and then an integration tool. And then you have to manage the integration and all of that as well. So,
yeah, we had one client spending $15,000 a month on Zapier, keeping their Shopify website talking to their Salesforce org. $15,000 a month, right?
That's crazy. That's quite something. Well, I think another interesting component that I guess I could see from this too is that when someone says e-commerce and they talk about Shopify, they're usually thinking of selling a widget or a piece of clothing or a subscription or something like that. But these kind of commerce-enabled or web-enabled customer experiences that are becoming more standard in terms of how businesses want to interact with their customers. Is there a difference with that, with how StoreConnect can achieve some of those versus another e-commerce platform, or how have your clients leveraged that?
Yeah, one of the things they've done, and we're seeing this time and time again now, is StoreConnect is an e-commerce and it is a point of sale, but it's also a content management system. And all of that content is managed out of Salesforce. And what that means, the biggest feature that gives you is that the website content is completely modifiable by what's happening in the e-commerce store or in your SalesForce org. So if we flip the script a bit and say, well, how would you do this otherwise? You'd have your Shopify store over here. You'd have your WordPress site over here for your main, whatever your content is of your website. And then you might have a CRM, Monday.com or HubSpot or something sitting over here. If you're on your website and you write an article about one of your products, and within that article, you want a call to action saying, hey, buy this product, and you have a price there, in that old model, you would have to, and you wanted to change the price, you would have to go and change it in your e-commerce store. You would have to go and change it on every article or every call to action on the website, and you'd have to change it in your CRM. But with StoreConnect, because everything's running out of that one platform, you just go to the product and change it once. And once you've changed that product, it's dynamically updating the website, and it will update every occurrence that is appearing in every article across the entire website instantaneously. Or say your product goes out of stock because someone in your sales team just sold a big deal to a B2B customer and they just wiped you out of stock of this certain product. In the old system, someone needs to know that and rapidly log into the Shopify store or whatever it is, WooCommerce or Magento, and take that item out of stock. Or you have to build some sort of integration which makes that happen. In StoreConnect, in the back end, if one of your awesome sales reps sells you out of stock of an item, it's out of stock. And that means the website's now showing out of stock instantaneously. So this is where that integration really, really comes into play. And that's how they can leverage that power. We had another thing where a client was selling sleep gear. And I said to them, well, why don't you have SalesForce automatically, according to the time of day, swap out the ad on your website? And they went, what do you mean? I said, well, at 9 a.m., change your website to saying, arrived at work, had a full night's sleep, but you're still tired? Book in for a consultation. Book in for a consultation. Or at 3 p.m., are you tired at work, but you don't understand because you've been sleeping or you slept all night? Book in for a consultation. Maybe you've got sleep apnea. 3 a.m., can't sleep, woke up for no reason. Maybe you have sleep apnea. And they could have SalesForce just automatically swap out that image at different times during the day according to the location of the customer that's coming into the page. And that could just be an automation, or take the products off the homepage that aren't selling very well. Or put the ones there that are. So the Salesforce flow that's monitoring how many products are being sold on an hourly basis. And when one spikes, well, that one's spiking, more people are coming to buy that product, move that product to the front and center of the homepage automatically so that the next person that comes has less clicks to get to that product. Because you don't know why it spiked. Maybe someone shared it on social media and you're going viral and you don't even know. So the last thing you want to do is add more load by making people do searches and clicks to find it. You just whack it on the front of your homepage automatically and then take it off when it stops selling. So these are all automations that you can really leverage that power of Salesforce to modify your website and your e-commerce and your point of sale all at the same time.
Interesting. Going back to one thing you said just a couple minutes ago, you talked about inventory, and I'm just curious. So your typical customer, are they managing their inventory, in Salesforce? Are they using a third-party tool, maybe an ERP or inventory management system? What does that look like?
Yeah, so most of our customers, the vast majority, are just using StoreConnect's inventory system, which is a simple enough system to allow a website to know if an item's in stock or out of stock. So our StoreConnect inventory system is not what you'd use if you wanted to do, total landed cost or all these sorts of things. We have some basic, reorder stock levels and things like this, but we're not a full ERP inventory system. So the clients that want an ERP level inventory system will also in turn install things like Rootstock or Certinia or Now, which is another inventory only Salesforce product. And they install those into Salesforce. So then what StoreConnect can do is it just, instead of it'll still track its own inventory, but then the client's partner puts a trigger. The people that are installing the inventory system put a trigger on the StoreConnect stuff just to make sure it's always telling the ERP instantaneously every time it sells something. And that works really well.
Perfect. And maybe just to round out some of the functions and features to help everyone understand the scope. Obviously, you mentioned e-commerce, point of sale, content management, but help us understand now in this last bit, you talked about inventory management. So help us understand the breadth of what, kind of where it starts, where it stops, so people can understand of all their goals, what they can start to accomplish, if not all of them.
You can do everything with StoreConnect.
Yeah. Well.
I actually have a slide with this on our website. So anytime anyone goes, if you miss this, it's right there. But we do a full e-commerce platform. So that includes mobile and desktop. And the e-commerce also includes things like Apple Pay, Afterpay, Google Pay, Link Pay, PayPal, all the pays. We have a full content management system. So you can run your entire website, like the non-e-commerce part of your website on StoreConnect. That includes member-only logins, authenticated content, blog posts, articles, all of that sort of thing. We have a full point of sale system. So that same product set that you've created for the website, you can then say these ones are going to be available in the store and then have that running in the store, which also includes click and collect. So being able to buy it on your e-commerce platform and then go and pick it up in store via the point of sale system. We run multiple storefronts in multiple currencies in multiple regions, in multiple languages, which means that you can run a whole large number of e-commerce stores on StoreConnect. We actually had one client who had 72 e-commerce stores on 72 instances of BigCommerce in 4 countries across 26 brands. And if you start thinking with this, they would take up to a week to go and get a report of what they sold last week. So they've now moved all of that onto one StoreConnect environment with one SalesForce org. And their time spent on it, they used to have 4 full-time staff managing these 72 sites. They now have one person doing it for 1 hour a day, just to give you a concept of how much time and money it's saved. So multi-store, and it's real multi-store. You don't have to buy a new license every time you want to run multi-store, and all of those multiple stores are looking at one set of data. It's not 3 sets of data or 10 sets of data. We do shipping and inventory support, so being able to take that object and track it all the way through to the end of the shipping cycle. We support 14 or 15 different payment providers, so you're not having to only pick our payment provider. We do subscription management, so that's recurring billing, fixed term or evergreen, so $50 a month forever or paying down a lease until it's done. We handle appointments and bookings, so being able to book an appointment into a webinar or an event or a consultant, a one-on-one booking, and pay for that during a checkout. And we also do rewards and loyalty. And rewards and loyalty means as you're buying stuff on the website, you're earning points, and then you can use those same points to buy things off the website at the same time. So all of that comes in the base license of StoreConnect, and none of that is a bolt-on or an add-on additional cost.
Awesome. And then one other follow-up question on that is, there's obviously a lot of features and functionality that you guys have. And, you've talked about companies who are scaling up. We've talked about comparison to Shopify and how it's obviously a lot less expensive than maybe a Commerce Cloud solution. So what kind of are the average size companies? Is there a range for people out there to understand of, what's the low end maybe in terms of revenue and the high end of when they start to use StoreConnect?
The low end, I don't know that we've hit it yet, but because we had the 3 dads start up and they had 0, right? So I don't know. I don't think you can maybe go less than average, 0 on revenue.
Yeah.
But, less than, they were planning to do $500,000 worth of sales that year, and that's what they hit, right? So that's probably our low end, is about you're doing $500,000 of sales on the platform and you're now wanting to grow. So that would probably be our bottom end. Our top end's probably somewhere around the 20 to 30 million per annum range. Not necessarily because we can't go higher, but more that's really where our target market is. And it's those companies that are wanting to grow out of that. We just signed up a large not-for-profit donation organization in the USA, and they do, I think, $200 million a year. So it's not that that top end isn't there. It's just that when you're getting into those scales, of like a $200 million revenue business, they're more likely to go after something like Commerce Cloud because they have the budget to achieve it. So they're less likely to be looking at us.
Gotcha. Another question. What should people expect from a timeline perspective for a typical implementation?
Yep. This, in the vast majority of cases, comes down to how good their data is right now. 90% of our customers have a data problem when they start with StoreConnect. Like they've got their data in 3 or 4 different systems. It's not coordinated, and that adds time. Having said that, most of our clients go live in about 2 to 3 months from starting. The fastest we've had is Friday afternoon. And that was with a client with a very, very specific need, and they were already a SalesForce client. They had a SalesForce admin on team who'd already played with it a bit, and they went, yep, we're going ahead. They signed the license. They were up and running that afternoon. But yeah, it's 2 to 3 months. I mean, the longest we've had is 9 months because they're figuring out data problems and trying to clean up stuff and what have you. But yeah, we've had longer than that actually. But those really, really long projects are clients going, okay, we've just opened up a can of worms. We didn't realize that our business was in this bad a state, right? So now they're having to do all this fundamental work to clean up their business, which is good that they've had to do it, because if they hadn't done it then, it would have really bit them in 3 years' time as they scaled a bit, and then they might have gone out of business, right? So it forces in a certain amount of cleanup or confusion handling in a business as part of doing this.
Absolutely. Maybe one more question before we jump into a demo here.
Sure.
Tell us something exciting. What's on the roadmap? What are you working on? What should we look forward to here? In addition to everything you already have, of course.
Everything we've already got. Yeah. The biggest things that we're doing this year, we've held off jumping on the generative AI hype train until things sort of settled down a little bit. There wasn't a huge amount of demand for our customers in the short term. I'm glad we did, because Salesforce are coming out with a whole bunch of stuff that our StoreConnect clients just get for free. So there's all the Salesforce AI prompting, and they're calling it Agentforce. Well, if you're a StoreConnect customer, you can use Agentforce on a StoreConnect website, and we don't have to develop anything, right? So that's a really exciting thing about StoreConnect. Every time Salesforce release a feature, you can take advantage of that on top of StoreConnect. But the other things that we're developing out, the next big one we're launching is a whole page editor. So right now, when you want to edit stuff with StoreConnect, you're doing it from within Salesforce, which is a little bit clunky. It works really well, but it's clunky. So we're giving our clients the ability to click edit, and it jumps into the website in live edit mode. They can edit what they want to edit. They hit publish, and it gets published back to Salesforce so that it's all kept in sync. So that's a big thing we're releasing soon. We are releasing some generative AI tooling around doing stuff like resetting all of your images. So one of the biggest problems e-commerce companies have is all their images are different sizes. So you'll be able to highlight all of the images you want and say, make all of these 16 by 9, or make them all square, or remove the backgrounds on all of them. And StoreConnect will automatically go through and just clean up all of those images for you and save them back into the database. These are the sort of time-saving type things. The other big one we're doing next year is integration with marketplaces. So, for example, you might have a widget that you're selling, and you might be selling it in 3 of your own stores. It might be North America, the UK, and Australia. So 3 different currencies. So that one product will have 3 price entries for those 3 currencies. We want to create another thing where you can just add a price book entry for Amazon or eBay or Otto or any of these other marketplace systems, and StoreConnect will automatically publish and manage that product on that platform for you without having to play around or create integrations or things like this. So our features are really about increasing the efficiency of the organization that we're serving. Because we figure if we can get you as a customer to spend less time playing around with your e-commerce website, whatever, and more. That will give you more time to look after your customers, grow your business, create new products, that sort of thing. So that's really where we're focused.
Perfect. Okay. I think we're at the spot that everyone's been waiting to see. You want to share a demo?
Sure. Alrighty. So this is our website, StoreConnect, getstoreconnect.com. And just before I dive into showing some of the other applications running on it, this is the circle that I was talking about. So any of your clients or anyone watching who wants to remember what all those things were that I rattled off, they're all there. So StoreConnect is a content management system. So this website, for example, is StoreConnect running on StoreConnect with StoreConnect. So it's turtles all the way down. And anything within this is fully searchable and findable within the SalesForce organization that I've got running. And I'll show an example of doing a demo change or changing a website in a minute. I'm just going to flick through a few websites just to give people an idea of the design quality of what you can get on StoreConnect. So this is one of our best clients, Promar. They sell skincare, nutrition, motor oil, and cleaning products. And he doesn't mind me saying this, but I'm sure if you're buying vitamin E cream, you wouldn't want to buy it from a company that was selling drain cleaner at the same time. So what they did was they used the StoreConnect multi-store feature, and they've launched this website, Grace Cosmetics. And Grace Cosmetics, completely different branding, but it's only their skincare range, right? And this is a beautifully designed website. It has everything that you would expect on a website like this. But this is only the skincare range, and this is running on the same Salesforce environment as the Promar website. We have, sites like this, Baby Bjorn. So, we can do all sorts of high design, layout, even companies like Sharp Electronics, who are obviously not a small business. They're a very, very large business. But they use StoreConnect for all of our trait features and being able to do search and cataloging. And like all of these records here, all of this search type tooling is all built into Salesforce, right? So if you want to update one of these traits, you only have to update it once. And that's going to update all of your search text. It's going to update all of this information in here. It's even going to be updating automatically all of the specification fields down here, which is also pulling from that same data source. So this is a very important part of StoreConnect where you have all of this in one platform. They also do a whole where to buy thing. And this is also, out of the box StoreConnect, and being able to find locations and stuff like this for this very, very expensive copier is all part of the system. We also do highly designed websites like this one. These are photos, believe it or not, of the back end of Australia. And again, highly designed, very, very beautiful. One of our clients is they do defibrillators. So this is a defibrillator, normally the size of a lunchbox. This one fits in your hand. You snap, peel, and stick. But the good thing about this website, these guys got up and running in 6 weeks. And you can see here that we're in the Australia store, and we'll go have a look at that. And all of these pricings are going to be in Australian dollars. But this same store is also in the United Kingdom. So we can change to the United Kingdom, and you can see here we've got our required GDPR compliance, which is all built into StoreConnect. You're not having to add plugins for all of this. And then we can go to have a look at the European store and see that all these are in pounds, right? So that same product has just got 2 price book entries. They're not having to duplicate that product in 4 different stores or 3 different stores, which is a really big deal. So to show you a bit of a checkout and playing around with StoreConnect, so this is our demo store. So say we want to change the word incredible here to awesome. And we also want to move this slider down to be down here because we want to really pop it out. And then on top of that, the dumbbells are selling out. So we want to remove the dumbbells from the featured products. We can jump into Salesforce. So this is the Salesforce org. And we can go and search for that text. And there it is. And we can go straight into the content and edit it. Now, that was a very fast way to find that content on a website, right? It took me a couple of seconds to find, locate, and edit that text straight away. And then we want to move her on the homepage. So we're going to find the homepage. There it is. And she's in this slideshow. So we're just going to delete that content block out of the slideshow. And then we'll put it back into the homepage at, position 27 here. So we'll go and type sprint. and hit save. And now she's on the homepage. And then we also wanted to change the products that we were featuring. So we'll go into the product listing, and you can see that the product listing is just listing products. So we can just go and delete that association. Now, I'm doing all of this manually, but you could do that automatically with SalesForce, right? There's no requirement that this has to be done with clicks. You could actually just write some SalesForce flows and make all that work. And then popping over here, refreshing the website, you can see that the website's changed. She's now awesome, and there's no dumbbells for sale. So this is just an example of how that whole checkout, that whole content management flow can be automated from within Salesforce. I'm not going to show a whole checkout because clients have seen checkouts multiple times. But what I will show is a point of sale checkout. So here we are in the point of sale. This is using the same products that are available over here. So if we go into the gym, you can see that there are all these products available. This one's even available for points. You can buy points plus purchase. But we'll go into the point of sale over here and we'll buy these products. We'll add a customer, Michael. There's that customer, Michael. We're going to add them. We're going to go do that checkout. We do a tap to pay with a credit card system. And that checkout's now complete. We've got that order number. The cool thing about this is because it's all one platform, if I go into StoreConnect and log in as Michael, and then I go into my orders confirmation paging and have a look over here and go to orders, that point of sale order is now also going to be on the website, right? So I'm able to see the order that I just placed in store and it's now in the system. Further, if I jump into Salesforce now and go look for that order, there it is. So it's already in the Salesforce environment as well. And this has created an account. So I can go look at the account. I can see all of the orders that account's made, both online and within the point of sale system. I can see every contact that's on that order. So maybe there's different people that are making different orders on that one account. I can see all of their orders. I can see all of their subscriptions, when they're next due, how often they're happening. I can see every support ticket and support case that client's raised, right? You could even set up automations using the Salesforce AI tooling that says, hey, if the person's raising a lot of support cases around this one product, let's find out what the problem is and fix it out. So all of this is available to that end customer and to our client on Salesforce about the end customer. And then because it's all on Salesforce, you can create whatever reports or dashboards you want, which covers every aspect of your business. And we just hit refresh and it just updates and gives you that new data. So that's a very, very high level view. But the key thing here is that as a business owner, I can handle our point of sale, our website, and our e-commerce platform completely from within one dashboard. We're not having to change systems or go anywhere else. And that's really the power of StoreConnect.
That's awesome.
Perfect.
Michael. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun as a product. One of our clients said, and I think this sums up our competitive advantage really, really well. They said with StoreConnect, it's never a no. It's always you could do it this way or this way. And that's because we're built on this underlying programmable system of Salesforce. So really, on StoreConnect, what's possible is only limited by your imagination and your budget.
Perfect. Thank you for that demo. Before we let you go, for anyone in the audience who wants to get in touch with you guys, what's the best way to do that?
GetStoreConnect.com is our website. And if you go there, there's a little chat box in the bottom corner. Fill out a contact and we will contact you and give you a demo. We can also help you navigate what you need or what services you need with Salesforce. And then as part of that, if need be, we can either hook you up with one of our partners or we can give you the free training you need to be able to get your own system up to date. We've had a lot of clients self-implement. It is possible. And you have to have someone who's going to look after your Salesforce org. But we do recommend you work with partners and we will just introduce you to the appropriate ones and go from there.
All right, Derek. We just heard from Michael, founder and CEO at StoreConnect. What'd you think?
I'm a big fan of this platform. I think for the right type of business and the right use case, it is a very powerful tool. I've worked with Salesforce personally over 10 years, and the power of that platform underneath and the, truthfully, billions of dollars of research and development and enhancement that Salesforce themselves have put into that platform makes a really powerful back end for anything you want to do. And as long as you have the technical skill, or you have a partner who has the technical skill and maturity to be able to build off of that platform, it really enables a lot of flexibility for your e-commerce experience. And from my perspective, one of the cool things about the possibilities of StoreConnect is it might not just be a e-commerce site where you're buying a product. Like that is definitely a great use case. But from my perspective, a lot of customers are expecting a much more web-enabled experience to their entire interaction, or their entire sort of experience with you as a business. And I think that leveraging a tool like this that has all their customer data immediately to hand, all their interactions immediately to hand, and the whole sort of CRM behind it is really interesting. And the fact that I think we could see in the demo that they've been around 7 years, they're pretty mature as a product and probably ready to sort of hit the scale button with lots of additional clients.
Absolutely. I agree. In a prior episode, we talked about how there's these suites like a SalesForce, like a NetSuite. You've got all these products built into it from the manufacturer of the software. And then you've got, point solutions that live outside these platforms. In this case, a Shopify would live outside and a Commerce Cloud would live inside. But then you've got this meet in the middle where a third party builds on top of the platform. You don't really worry about integrations, and you've got a lot of power from the platform and everything kind of consolidated. I love that play. I mean, you and I have seen that so many times with so many successful companies. They're focused, they're Salesforce experts. Half the business of the plumber's business or whoever's on Salesforce already. So, it's very focused, which is cool. So I think it's a great tool, great product. And, certainly something that people should consider before just jumping right on a Shopify or these other tools. They really need to do an evaluation to say, hey, is that really what I need? Or is that really what's best for me? Or am I going to end up with a lot of applications that I need to connect to one another?
Yeah, and those connections can be much more difficult than expected, especially as you start to grow and scale in size. You then have to buy an integration tool, and those can be $10,000 a year or more. And then you have to know how to do that, or you have to hire another partner, a different partner to configure that. It gets really complicated really quickly. So I think a lot of businesses are doubling down on a single sort of platform technology stack, and then it makes adding these additional add-ons easy as long as it fits their needs. So exciting tool.
Very well said. Awesome. Well, it's been another great episode of Talk Sassy to Me. Like us, love us, subscribe to us, and we'll see you guys next time.